The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. Yeah!
Hi, and welcome to this week's edition of the Pool Guy Show podcast. This week I'm going to be talking with Matt Lopez, Vice President of Riptide Pool Vacuum Systems. And if you notice, Riptide Pool Vacuum Systems is a sponsor of this podcast. And when I say sponsor of the podcast, basically I sent an email out saying I'm going to start a podcast, and I was looking for companies that were willing to cover the cost of the podcast so that I could offer it free to the listeners here. And within like 10 minutes, Riptide was the first one to respond, saying they'll sponsor me for the next 4 months. So that's why at the beginning of the show I announced that Riptide is my sponsor. And you can learn more about the Riptide Vac by just listening to this podcast or going to their website at riptidevac.com. So I'm going to be covering the Riptide Vacuum Systems with Matt in a little bit here in the interview. I just want to briefly go over what a pool vacuum system is. Basically, it's a self-contained vacuum that you have on a cart, or you can hand carry it out to the pool side. It's powered by a deep cycle battery, and it has a 30-pound thrust motor, and so all the dirt and debris will be pulled up through the vacuum head into a debris bag on top, a fairly large debris bag on top. And each of these bags has a micron rating. We'll go over that more in the interview. Riptide makes a 75 micron, 100 micron, and 400 micron. To give you an idea what a micron is, 70 microns is about the width of a human hair. I'm not talking about the length of the hair, but the actual width of the strand of hair. Your filter, your DE filter, will filter down to about 3 to 5 microns. That's going to filter out algae and ragweed. And then cartridge filters will filter down to about 20 microns, which is the size of pollen. So you kind of have an idea of how fine these vacuum systems will filter down in your pool. So we'll cover more of that in detail in the interview right now. So I'm joined by Matt Lopez, Vice President of Riptide Vacuum Systems. How you doing today, Matt?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Dave?
Good. So can you take a minute or two and describe exactly what the Riptide Pool Vacuum System is and how it can help the pool guy in his pool route?
Yeah, the Riptide, it's a self-contained, battery-operated pool vacuum and cart system. It's designed for the pool service professional to make them more efficient on their route. Since you're not using the customer's pump to clean the pool, all you have to do when you show up to the customer's house is just push the cart to the pool, throw the vac head in the water, and flip the power switch and start vacuuming. It couldn't be easier than that, to be honest with you. It makes everything more efficient. You're not bending down the hose for the vacuum. You're not having to clean the filters as often because you're not running as much through the pump. It's all self-contained with our system.
Now the bags on top, I know that it comes with a standard 100 micron bag, but you have other microns also available?
Yes, we do a 75 micron, a 100 micron, and a 400 micron bag. The 75 micron, that'll pick all the way down to DE. It'll pick out sand and dirt. I've even vacuumed cement pools myself, gunite pools, and I pulled fiberglass particles that wasn't even a fiberglass pool, and I'm emptying the bag, and I've gotten fiberglass all over myself. It was a brand new bag, and I'm like, what is this? So the stuff you pull out of the pool with our bag is phenomenal for a 75 micron bag. Our 100 micron bag, that'll pull out sand and dirt no problem. The 75 micron does a better job of pulling sand out, but the 100 micron is more of a general purpose bag. And the 400 microns for really large debris, if you have any type of sticks, real heavy leaves, stuff like that.
You mentioned that the Riptide is designed for the pool service professional, but before we go any further, let's say if you're a homeowner and you live in an area where you have your pool surrounded by trees and you just get a ton of debris in there. Now, could they order the Riptide? I know you have a new battery box. You can touch on that also. What about a homeowner that has a pool that gets trashed all the time?
Yeah, I've sold to a couple of homeowners, and actually this past couple of weeks I've had a run where summer camps have been purchasing the vacuum system, and they don't have a need for the transport rack. So we've been selling them without the transport rack. They just maintain the pools on site themselves. They leave them there. They don't need to transport it anywhere. Anybody that needs to purchase a vacuum, if you're a homeowner or a summer camp, for example, and they have no need for a transport rack, just give us a call. We can work out a special price since you won't need the included transport rack with the system. We can give you a discount on that. But absolutely, anybody that has a need, that they have large debris or they maintain the pool themselves, they don't want a pool professional maintaining it for them for whatever reason, we'll absolutely sell them a vacuum system.
Okay, and you can, like I mentioned, you can purchase it with just the battery box too if you wanted to, right?
Yes, the price with just the vacuum head, the cord, and the battery box is $850. And we've sold a few like that, and that also works for the pool service professional. I know a lot of pool companies, they don't have a need for a cart for whatever reason. They might have extreme access issues to the pool, or I had one guy out there in California, actually, he tells me he has to walk through, the customer has to be home, he has to go through the customer's house because there's no access to the pool from outside of the property. I don't know how that is. I don't know why they built their house like that. But the homeowner has to be home. He can only maintain it at certain hours. He has to go through the house, so he can't drag our cart through the customer's house, but he uses the battery box to go through the house and to the pool.
That's funny. That sounds like a really interesting service account for sure.
Yeah.
So you want to touch on too, you have a commercial unit. I've used both units myself, and I really think they're awesome. You know, I've used a commercial unit. I like that unit, and you have a new SM model that came out just a few weeks ago. And you want to touch on both of those units and maybe mention some of the differences and similarities?
Yeah, absolutely. For starters, and I know this has confused a little people, we're actually working on redesigning our website to explain it a little better. Excuse me. The only difference is in the cart. The vacuum heads are the same exact vacuum heads. It's a 24-inch vacuum head. They both have the same 30-pound thrust motor. The commercial unit is a bigger cart. It allows you to carry more chemicals and tools to the pool. It also has a cord reel for winding up the power cable easily. Whereas the SL model is designed for anyone that does residential or commercial service. It still has two bins, storage bins. They're smaller than the commercial cart bins. It also has larger tires, which allows it to go off concrete and onto rough terrain, grass, and other surfaces easily. That model doesn't have the cord reel. What we do on that one, it has a plug at the end of the cable, so you just plug it into the cart. When you're done vacuuming the pool, you unplug it. You can take all the twists out of the cable from unplugging it, and then it also makes wrapping up the cable a lot easier.
Okay, and then also touch on the vacuum head itself. I really like the vacuum head. I think you offer a 10-year warranty on the case, right?
Yeah, we do a 10-year warranty on the vacuum case. I don't care, or I should say we here at Riptide, we don't care if a customer runs it over with their truck for whatever reason. We'll replace that shell of the vacuum case for them. It's a one-piece rotational molded vacuum case. It's made from the same plastic they make kayaks out of. We use UV stabilized plastic, so it'll hold up to the sun. But we also, part of our design process when we designed the vacuum case, we did all the design in CAD. We have a 3D printer here. We printed out a bunch of prototypes for it. We narrowed the case front to back so it's not getting unnecessary suction to the bottom of the pool, so it doesn't get stuck to the bottom of the pool and waste energy. This also made the case a lot more efficient. It's a lot more powerful than the other vacuums on the market we're finding, and our customers are telling us that it's a lot more powerful than other vacuums that they've used because of this.
Yeah, and I find when I'm using it, I can actually even feel the vacuum power through the pool pole that I'm holding. I mean, you can just feel the power of the thrust motor picking up the debris. And then also on the top, those locking bags. You want to touch on those? Yeah,
one of the big problems is if you are vacuuming a pool with a powered vacuum system and the bag blows off, all that debris you have is you're going to have to wait until it all settles in the pool. And that could be a half hour, it could be an hour, it could be 10 minutes, but that's all time. And in this industry, time is money, as you know. So with our bags, we put a polyurethane locking bag ring on it that snaps on, and we guarantee it'll never blow off in the pool.
Yeah, I haven't had one blow off yet, so that guarantee so far is good with me.
I can assure you from the bag will never blow off. That was a huge huge design point that we wanted to solve when we designed our vacuum.
And I also noticed that the bags really hold up well as far as like not having any kind of tears in it. I mean, I've used the same bag probably now for about 3 months.
Yeah, that's actually interesting because we don't sell many replacement bags. I know that, and we've been on the market now since February, and we've sold a lot of vacuums, and we don't sell a lot of bags to replace them, so I know they're holding up well just based on that fact alone.
Yeah. What about the manufacturing? I know you mentioned we mentioned about the 10-year warranty on the vacuum case itself. What about the warranty on the product? How it's manufactured, durability of it? So far, I haven't had any problems at all with the units at all. I mean, they're just very well made, in my opinion.
Well, thank you. Durability is a big thing for us. When we designed the system, we did it knowing that our vacuum was going to be a tool that people relied on in order to make a living. So if their vacuum's down, they weren't making money, they weren't working, or they were having to do things the old-fashioned way and being frustrated. Therefore, we didn't compromise on anything when it came to manufacturing. We do full TIG welding on all the joints on our cart, as well as solid aluminum bars on the front of the cart where it hooks into the transport rack. This is where it's riding in the truck, and it's going to take the most force, it's going to take the most abuse. So by going to a solid aluminum bar, it makes our cart extremely strong and durable. And then moving on to the vacuum case, like we talked about, we did a 10-year warranty on the vacuum case, and you had mentioned before that you actually feel the power up through the pool pole, and the reason you do that is we use the motor to help stabilize the case, which just increases strength on the plastic case. It's actually a mounting point where the case mounts to the motor directly, and it makes the case a lot stronger and a lot more durable. But just doing a one-piece rotational molded design actually increased the case durability on that as well. We didn't want to have customers breaking the cases and then having to spend $400 to $500 to replace the case. That was a big thing we wanted to solve during our design and manufacturing process.
And I also noticed that when you pull the vacuum head out of the pool, the way it's designed, no debris actually gets stuck around the edges of it. It all stays in the bag. And I've used other systems where you pull it out and some debris will just leak back in.
Exactly. The bag just flops over the front. That's all you really need the bag to do. Because you obviously don't want the debris you just vacuumed to fall out of the pool after you just vacuumed it.
And one thing I really like about the Riptide, you mentioned the transport rack earlier. Go over some details about that transport rack, because I know that it's solid. I mean, you put it on your truck, and it feels like it would just take, I don't know what it would take to get that thing to come off your truck. It's just on there like it's welded on. It's such a solid transport rack.
Yeah, that actually, if we go back to our original prototype that me and my business partner Dave, when we had it, we had mounted it to the truck, and it was wobbling around on the back of the truck, and I said, I hate this. I really dislike all this movement and play. And he was like, well, I don't know if I could do anything about that, all the movement in the rack. So fast forward a couple days, and he comes out with what we call an anti-wobble plate, and it just mounts underneath the rack, and it takes all the slop and the movement out. You'll actually move the truck bed with the rack attached, when the vacuum attached to it, if you try to shake the vacuum out of it, which is pretty interesting. But we also, maintenance is a big thing for us. On the transport rack, we do a replaceable bottom U bracket on the bottom of it, because that, let's face it, the industry's tough. The chemicals you guys use are extremely corrosive. Things are going to wear out, especially on certain parts like that where you have to make it out of steel. So that part's not welded on. It's actually replaceable. So if it ever rusts out in a few years down the line, you just unbolt it and bolt a new one on. Or if somebody ever backs into your truck while you have the transport rack on and you don't have the vacuum on, you can just replace that part as well.
In both carts, you can put a 100 Ah battery in?
Yes, you can put up to, I actually think the Group 27s are 110 Ah, but yes. And you can actually go all the way down to a 35 amp hour battery, which, based on our field testing that we've done here, we're getting 6 to 7 hours of runtime with that 35 amp hour battery down here in South Florida, where it's really hot and humid. And the advantage of running that lightweight battery is it only weighs 25 pounds. So compared to the 100 AH battery, which weighs about 65 pounds, you're saving 40 pounds of weight to every pool that you go to, which is a lot of weight to be pushing around all day long.
So if someone wanted to order the Riptide, Matt, how would they do that? And also you want to touch on, I know on the website there's financing available also.
Yes, if anybody wants to order, we sell direct on our website, which is riptidevac.com. It's VAC, so riptidevac.com. We accept all major credit cards as well as PayPal. We also offer financing through a company called Klarna. I know on our SL model off the top of my head, it's an 18-month financing for less than $100 a month. The regular retail price on the SL model with the 40-foot cable is $1,600, and with the 60-foot cable it's $1,660. That price is plus shipping, which is on the SL models is only anywhere in the country. It's only $50 for shipping on that. And the commercial vacuums, they start at $2,000. And as far as turnaround time, typically we can get all orders placed before 4 p.m. Eastern time, shipped out the same day, which is really, really nice. So
it's definitely eye-catching, the colors. I really like the color scheme. We didn't really touch on that, but the blue color scheme is just very eye-catching for a service professional, even for customers to see you driving with that on your truck.
Yeah, it looks really professional back there. It's a nice blue shade. We do orange accents on it. The whole cart's made out of aluminum, and then we do the blue powder coating on the cart. But it's really professional looking. It's definitely eye-catching, to say the least. Driving around here locally, if we're ever going to like a tabletop show or a pool show, and we have one on the back, people always look at it that are other pool guys. They'll be staring at it when we're going down the road.
That's funny. Well, I want to thank you, Matt, for your time and going over the Riptide product. I think this will be very helpful for pool service professionals who are thinking about getting a vacuum system. And this was really great. I really appreciate your time.
No problem, Dave. I'm glad you had me on the show. And if you ever need me on the show again, just let me know.
Sure. Nice talking to you.
All right, Dave. Thank you. You have a nice night.
So I hope this interview gives you a better understanding of the Riptide Vacuum System and the company that stands behind it. I met Matt and Dave at the trade show earlier this year in Long Beach. I got to meet them and spend some time with them, and I really like the Riptide Vacuum System. I think the commercial system is great. It has a lot of great features, like a lot of storage area. It's got the cord reel, and I've been using the SL model for the last 3 weeks on my pool route, and I like the versatility of the SL model. That it's compact, and it's lightweight, and that it gets over steps and other areas very easily. You know, the vacuum power, I mentioned when I was talking to Matt, you can actually feel the power of the vacuum, and it's true. When I'm vacuuming with this Riptide vacuum, the way it's designed, no area is lost to the suction of this cleaner, and so it's almost like you're pulling everything off the floor. It'll pull debris from really far away. Sometimes I'll just put it in the pool and see how far the debris will be pulled from, and it just sucks everything up into there. I was vacuuming a pool yesterday, and there were some broken tiles in there, and I was like, well, I'm just going to vacuum around this tile. There were smaller broken pieces of tile that had fallen off, and I told myself, well, I'm not going to get anywhere near the tile, so I'm not going to pull it in there. And sure enough, just me passing by with the vacuum pulled the tile right in, and it sucked it up. And the same thing happened with the pair of goggles that were on the bottom. I thought I was far enough away, and sure enough, the Riptide just sucked the goggles into the system and pulled them up into the bag. So it just has tremendous vacuuming power, and until you actually use a vacuum system like the Riptide, you really don't know how much time you're going to save on your pool route. And I want to emphasize this point, that by using the Riptide vacuum system, yes, it's an investment. Buying any kind of equipment is definitely an investment, but I'll tell you, the time you're going to save out there on your pool route using this vacuum system is going to pay for the unit itself. The time saving is just amazing. You get to a pool that will normally take you, 30 to 45 minutes to leaf rake out, and then you would throw your manual vacuum in there and vacuum out the rest of this stuff as it settles down to the bottom. With the Riptide, you just pull it up to the side of the pool, you drop it in the pool, and you just vacuum it as if you're manually vacuuming the pool. And a 24-inch wide vacuum head will pull up everything into the vacuum, and you'll be out of there in about 15 minutes. I mean, it's amazing how much time you save. So I highly recommend the product for the convenience, the energy, the time savings. I mentioned that it's a powerful vacuum, and not only do you save time, but you save your manual labor energy. You're not scooping out leaves from the bottom. And if you do pool service for a living, you know that leaf raking the bottom, getting large debris out, does wear on your body, especially if in the California, when we have the Santa Ana winds hit, every pool is just totally destroyed and covered in the surface to the bottom and leaves. And you spend 8 hours scooping out leaves from the bottom, and you're just exhausted. Well, with the Riptide, you just drop it in there, and it does all the work for you. So time saving and energy saving are two key features of this vacuum. Very easy to use, and it'll leave pools extremely clean that if you were just to leaf rake it out, you would not get it nearly as clean as using the Riptide in it. So the customers are going to really appreciate the fact that you have this system to leave a heavy debris pool looking really good every week. And I have several of those on my pool route. I used to dread going back to those pools because I knew they were going to be totally destroyed. But now I almost smile as I go back there, knowing that with the Riptide, I'm going to drop it in there and be done in 15 or 20 minutes and be out of there. So an account that's really bad, the Riptide will turn it into a really nice account. And you can actually take on more work because of the time savings. You can also take on pools that you would normally pass on because of the large debris. Normally you get a pool, we call them stinkers, in the industry. They're just pools that no one really wants because every week they're just full of leaf debris. Well, with the Riptide, you can take these accounts and you can service them and have no problem. And the homeowner aspect of it too, if you want to buy the Riptide Vacuum Head and the battery box, and you maintain your own pool and you live in an area where the pool is just wasted by debris every week, the Riptide is going to save you a lot of time. It'll be about the same price as a good robotic pool cleaner, which won't do it nearly as well. If you know what kind of pool I'm talking about, the robotic cleaner will just get clogged up. Even a pressure cleaner with a large bag on top will get full every day. So for these kind of pools where you get a lot of debris in there, investing in the Riptide vacuum, the vacuum it out yourself, is probably one of the best things you can do. So if you're on the fence about getting a vacuum system, I highly recommend you getting one, and then you never look back. You're going to actually regret not getting one earlier. And we talked a little bit about the transport rack. Basically, you don't have to lift these systems into the back of your truck. You wheel it to the back of your truck, tilt it backwards, and it hooks right onto the transport rack, and you can just drive away. So it's pretty easy to do. There's no heavy lifting involved. You just take it off the truck when you want to use it. So definitely visit their website to learn more about the Riptide Vacuum System. Again, it was riptidevac.com, riptidevac.com. And I want to thank you for listening to this week's podcast. Have a great rest of your week, and God bless.
The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show.